on the program, especially as long as you're sending out horses that I'm picking that are winning. But tell us a little bit about what you've got going on in your barn. You've got a very nice older horse by the name of Cease, who seems to be a big horse for course here at Saratoga. Picked up a victory, and I think hopefully we've got a little bit of video clip of Cease winning up here at Saratoga early in the meet.
Right. Well, Cease was an accident. You know, he's by War Chant, and we thought turf, and we thought poly. So we tried that for a while, and then he was fortunate enough to be in a race going a mile and 3/8 on the turf here, and a storm came, and they changed it to a mile and 1/8, and he won by 13 and ran a 102 buyer in a really fast race, a good number on the sheets and all that kind of stuff. And so we wheeled him right back into one other then. He did it again, so we thought we had a dirt horse on our hands, and he had a pretty solid fall and winter, ran the Breeders' Cup Marathon, and then we came back and freshened him with Saratoga in mind after trying some stake races this spring, and he had 3 other. That was a really good race.
And this is his race earlier in the meeting on the 25th of July, and I thought that he looked terrific. And quite frankly, I went down to the paddock. We spoke a little bit that day. I thought he just was the best looking thing in the paddock. He looked like he was just ready to run the race of his life, and ran a very big race here.
Yeah, I agree with you. He got up here and he does really well, and you know what? He's done better since that last race. I breezed him a couple days ago, and he was just really chargy about everything, really wanting to do it, and he came out of that race great. He's trained good in the last couple days. So Seth Hancock was in town for some of the meetings this past week, and we're going to go ahead and commit and run in the Woodward on the 1st of September.
Great, and he certainly, and this race, and they had the $100,000 stake, the Birdstone, which I think it's fair to say these two races, this allowance race, and that are kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Probably see some horses out of the Birdstone coming in, but you're on the outside here with the blue cap and the silver and blue silks.
Right. He just finds his stride. He settled in, and Joel had a lot of horse, and he really just starts to lengthen at this last little part, and then he goes on. He makes you think he will run a mile and a quarter. I think he's a 2-turn horse. 9 to 10 furlongs is kind of. We tried him 3 turns twice, and he kind of got a little wobbly on us. But I think anything around 2 turns from like I said, 9 to 10 furlongs is kind of his lick.
And he certainly looks like a horse that really likes being here at Saratoga. We're going to run the 4-star Dave here this weekend. Maybe someday down the line, we'll have a race called the Cease in honor of your horse that keeps coming back.
We could have a grave out there in the infield.
Well, not in the near future, though. Not in the near future.
He is 3 for 3 though over the track. And is it the track surface he likes, or is it the atmosphere of Saratoga? Because over the years we've heard about a lot of horses that come up here. They got the window in the back of their barn. They can watch the activity. They like the water and the cool morning. So is it more the atmosphere of Saratoga or the track surface?
I think it's a combination of everything. But I do think the surface has a lot to do with it, because I've noticed horses will get to a certain place, and the weather's basically the same, and then they'll just fall apart because maybe they're not comfortable in their day-to-day training. So I think it's a combination of both, but obviously he's a dirt horse, and he's a Saratoga dirt horse, so I think most of it has to do with the main track itself.
And he's a gelding, if I'm not
correct.
Mistaken.
Yeah, he was gelded from his yearling year, I guess. I'm not really sure, but he's always been a gelding.
Well, that's a good thing for racing fans. That the racing fan in me likes to see a really good gelding, because I know we'll get to see them from year after year after year. And as somebody who's, I think it's fair to say, established your form as somebody who keeps a horse in training and does a good job, does right by them over the long term, that bodes well for us in the future. Tell us, though, as well, now you're somebody that not necessarily everybody thinks of as being, that 2-year-old guy. Everybody thinks Pletcher and Asmussen up here at Saratoga. But you've done pretty well with some 2-year-olds over the past here at Saratoga, and then going forward into the fall in Kentucky. Who have you got in the barn this year?
Well, I'm going to run a horse in Hopeful that won he broke his mate at Churchill, a more than ready colt named Maybe So for Mrs. Dill Snyder. And he won the Mountaineer Juvenile this past Saturday, beat Gary Sims's Grade 3 Bashford Manor winner. I can't remember his name. But, he showed some nice form being that horse in his second start, going from 4.5 furlongs to 6 furlongs. So we're going to bring him up here and try the Hopeful on closing day. And, we've just take our time, and we run them whenever we think they're right. It's fairly simple. If they have a problem, we put them away for a while, and if they're good, we go on with them. So that's just how we do our 2-year-olds. And And the ones you see are the ones that are kind of ready to go, and the ones you don't see, maybe you'll see them later.
And let me ask you, you talk about this horse leaving Churchill and winning over a Mountaineer Stakes race. Did you find as a handicapper, this appealed to me over the past couple of months or so, horses seem to have come out of that Churchill meet and done well at other venues, and particularly at the top level, at Fort Larned being one of them, going to the Cornhusker and then on to win here, but also at some of the lower levels. And so your horse kind of verified that with the win from a maiden to a stakes race. Did you find some of your other horses doing well as they moved out away from Churchill?
Churchill's tough. I mean, Kentucky's got one foot in the grave and all that kind of stuff, but that's where the horses still are, and the horsemen are there, and those 2-year-old races at Churchill were very competitive, and all down the line, the money's still good, and we just hope we can kind of hang in there and let something good happen, but the horses and the horsemen are still there, so you're going to see good stuff coming out of there, for the next few years, because I'm not going anywhere, and the Romans and the Amoses and stuff and Asmusens, we're still going to hang in there.
Yeah, that has been kind of a key for me over the past 6 weeks or so, the horses that have moved out of Churchill. And now I have to ask you, because Gene and I do a handicapping show during the rest of the year, and we're in on Mondays, and a lot of time we're talking about the stakes races from the past weekend, and one of our favorite horses, Star Guitar.
Yeah.
What is up with Star Guitar, who had a little problem?
Yeah.
There were some rumors of retirement. What's in the works with that one? I'll just let people know who don't follow Star Guitar. A Louisiana bred of the top quality, 30 career starts, 24 wins, just about $1.75 million in the bank.
Right. Well, Star Guitar, yeah, he's been a dream horse. Obviously, that's goes without saying. He had a quarter crack last year in his hind right foot on the inside quarter, and it showed up again this year. So, he's won 10 in a row. He's been so good to us. Obviously, it's turned into maybe a little chronic problem. It's going to take a while to grow out. And so there's talks about bringing it back. There's talks about retirement. Everything's on the table. And Evelyn Benoit, the owner, will make the choice sooner or later, and I'll let everybody know. But we're just trying to figure out what we want to do with him.
Yeah, he's had most of his career down there in Louisiana, but as fans, as they say, Gene and I have followed him. We come in on Monday and talk about those stakes races down there. He's been a real favorite.
Yeah, no, awesome horse, awesome animal.
He's definitely one of my favorites. Al, I'd like to thank you for coming by. I certainly do appreciate it. You can tell Cease that I'm going to bring him a little stash of carrots and apples, and so
we're in the neighborhood.
I'll be bringing him a little present very, very soon. That'll wrap up this segment. We will pause for one more brief message, and when we return, we've got more of Capital OTB's The Inside Track.
Some people take analyzing a horse race to a whole other level. Tune in every morning at 11 a.m. and get up-to-the-minute analysis of the day's biggest races, breaking news from the racing industry, and our daily best bets, only on OTB TV.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Hello racing fans, I'm Robert Lee, the newest member of the Capital OTB team. Follow me throughout the Saratoga racing season for all the late-breaking updates and racing information from right here in the paddock on Twitter @CapitalOTB. There you'll find our handicappers' picks, updated and instant analysis, and so much more.